All right, recording has been started.
That's Pog.
Yeah.
What's up, gamers? What happened last time?
Awesome shit.
You did.
Cockatrice fight.
Mm-hmm.
You fought a bunch of
things.
them. No, none of them bit you though.
Nope, and we didn't turn to stone, unlike some of the poor
Nobody turned to
animals that were
stone.
around.
L.
Sit grabbed one of the stone fish that were petrified on the ground. Um, this will be a
Oh,
tool to
yeah.
help us later.
The catfish.
Yeah. We killed 4 of the what the hell were they?
Cockatrice.
Cockatrice, thank you. Cause chicken. And we got 45 platinum from the shepherd, which is cool. And then we had drunk night with the besties.
By God, you had drunk night with the besties. The besties were drunk. But that's a vibe.
Yeah, Victor had a moment of noticing something with Fern while Fern friended us. Perhaps on accident.
Fern was so friendly. That was your friend, Fern, for sure. You know how it is.
Yeah.
And Victor did indeed notice something. Who's to say what it is? All anybody knows is that it made PK type for possibly hours. But yeah, I think that was the main highlights. Victor went to the library briefly to get cockatrice information and do a little other studying. That was at the beginning of session. And I don't think anybody had too many things, but as of the morning... Oh, I should update because it's the morning now, isn't it? It's the 29th.
Yo. Hey, that's
It's the 29th of Serenith. And as far as you know, you have 2 days before you can expect a response from Fern's acquaintances. But we left off with Fern waking up in the morning and noticing that their hair, the ends of their hair, at least, were fully white. And what did Fern do about that, Nocturne? Remind us all.
Fern got freaked out badly enough that they have decided to look in a mirror.
Yeah. So that's where we pick up. Is Fern looking at the mirror in the inn? And Fern, the figure in the mirror does indeed have hair that is a bright, sort of silvery white from about ear length down to the ends of the hair. Closer to the roots, it is a pale gold. The figure, it seems to be regarding you the way you are regarding it, but not with the same apprehension that you feel, more with a sort of detached curiosity. Now, it's hard to read its expression at all, because everything of its face, save for its clear gold eyes, is obscured by a smooth, ivory-looking mask.
Oh no, no.
It is looking at you, and you are looking at it. The expression of the mask is neutral. No smile, no frown. No emotion.
I stopped looking.
Okay. You look away from the mirror. You no longer see that figure. The color of your hair matches the color of the figure's hair. On the ends, at least, you can't see up at the roots, but the gold is paler but close enough to what you remember it being the last time you risked a look, or the way people just have described it to you. There is no mask on your face, but your face feels cold. What would you like to do?
I don't like that. I'm gonna do nothing about that.
All right, cool. Good to know. You can easily slide back in to a regular morning routine, being normal, chilling even.
I'm so normal.
Fern is so normal. You can go have breakfast. What's everyone else up to?
I'm having breakfast, and then I'm going to go grab my books that are on hold.
Okay.
Yeah, breakfast. So it's probably having some breakfast too.
Breakfast. Bitches be having breakfast as a collective.
I don't have anything particular she wants to do, although she might check at the whatever passes as a post office.
All right.
But breakfast first.
All right. Anybody got any particular interactions they'd like to happen over breakfast, or are you chilling?
Chilling.
Yeah, probably
chilling?
just chilling.
Yeah.
Okay. If that is the case, we'll have Aya check at the post office first, if that's all right, because that'll be quick and easy to resolve.
She's not expecting anything, but it's possible that some of the letters have reached people and they've gone, oh, since you're in
Camlin, yes.
Yes. Sorry, eventually I'll fucking remember where we are. It's just that...
All right,
Hey,
Joe.
you're in Camlin for a bit. Maybe they've written back.
You have, in fact, a letter for you.
Oh!
You should be able to see it in the journal.
Incredible.
As the date indicates to you that this is actually probably a response to your first letter and parcel that you'd sent
Yeah.
back a little bit much earlier, before you'd left Camlin the first time. However,
Yeah.
I couldn't remember what date that would have placed it at, so I didn't bother with putting a date on the handout.
That's fair.
You are welcome to, if you want me to share the letter with everybody can enjoy the letter, but otherwise I will,
Yeah, I think I am willing to share, particularly because, whenever Aya gets back, I am doing, excited kicking. So I think it should be shared.
Alright, everybody can look at the letter if you would like to read what Aya receives from her NPCs when I feel gracious.
Aww.
Aww.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Aww.
All right. Victor,
Mm-hmm.
going to the library,
Yes.
picking up the 2 books that you had on hold.
Mm-hmm.
History book and a religion book.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure I know what you're looking for. Has that changed?
No.
Okay. Then make for me both a history check and a religion check.
Okay. Hold on. I had to move all my stuff up here, up to the living room to sit with the dog, so all of my dice are like...
Valid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you said history and religion?
Yep.
Okay, the history is going to be an 18. And the religion is going to be a 17.
Okay. Would you prefer that I convey this information to you privately, or are you okay with me saying it all out loud?
I am more than okay with you saying it out loud.
Okay. So your searching gets you first a little bit of sort of the overview of Evenfall, that you knew some of it. You knew sort of its unusual nature, the fact that there is maybe a forest there sometimes and not a forest there other times. What this sort of geography lesson gets you is that yes, that is what happens, and yes, it is Fey bullshit, and you're not surprised by that whatsoever. But it puts you in mind of a couple different options just to start with. There's, standard run-of-the-mill, everyday kind of Fey. There's Archfey, but there's also things like the Lantern King, or other such not quite divine, but far too old to be considered anything else, that probably would find amusement out of something like this. The next thing that sort of sticks out to you, Evenfall is the site of the death of one of the old gods, although old is sort of debatable. Many scholars argue against calling it an old god, because if it wasn't old at the time of its death and it has only been a few centuries, well, debatably a few centuries since it died. But other people are like, well, it's not a god anymore, so it's an old god. And it's like, well, there's actually a different definition of what an old god is. That's actually a point of argument in the field that we need not get into just at this moment. But there are places near Evenfall that sort of, perhaps paradoxically, are voids of divine energy, both from the fallout of the death of the god and from the work of the god's killer, who deliberately built safe havens that were shielded from divine energy. And so, in many ways, Evenfall is sort of lacking in divine influence in some ways. In other ways, it's sort of like there's been a massive overcompensation, and so there are a lot of gods who have dipped their toe in to the area, but there are certain places where that's just impossible for them. But both of those pieces of information sort of lead you more to think the Fey route, because the divine situation is so complicated.
Mhm.
And because the nature of the thing sort of seems to track with everything you know. I will say,
Time to bust out the old list.
yeah. I will say you can ask any follow-up questions if you'd like, but that is what you get from those rolls.
Is there any information on anyone who's specific, like particularly Fae, more higher powered Fae that are known to, you know, have claimed it in the same way that
Mm-hmm. So, there isn't as much of a distinct claim because the Feywild and the forest don't have this same permanent fixture around Evenfall that it does closer to your homeland. It's very, very shifting. It is always malleable and always changing. But there are... trying to see if there's any that I think you would know about. You do think of the Lost Prince only because of his known capacity. This is one of the Elder Fae on the scale of the Lantern King. The Lost Prince is known for his ability to reshape parts of the plane and make it malleable according to his wishes, which sounds to be very in line with whatever the fuck is going on there. So you would put that up on your list. You're also not sold on the Lantern King not being involved, if you're being perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Because this also sounds like some bullshit. Especially considering of those two, the Lost Prince and the Lantern King, you would consider... You don't know... I'm not going to give you a ton of details because your religion roll was sort of mid about the god that died, but you know that it was a chaos god, and you know the Lantern King is far more aligned with chaos than the Lost Prince. And so if it's sort of a fae filling the void of a divine, that would track more to be the Lantern King than the Lost Prince, but both have their own points for and against them in this context.
I don't think she's totally sold on either. She's gonna make a list of citations.
Okay. God bless.
And jot down options. And kind of that sort of pros and cons. You know.
Yeah, makes sense.
That's gonna take her probably into the early afternoon.
Okay. I'm gonna give you one more thing, but I'm gonna type it. Okay.
I think at the top of the page, there's just sort of the question of supposed to be helpful, curse, or just funny? Question mark.
These are the questions. All right.
The answer is yes.
Yeah. Somebody thinks it's funny. You know, Set's been pissed about somebody.
Somebody thinks everything's funny.
This is true.
Unrelated, Danela hasn't been around in a while.
Where's our buddy?
Where is our buddy? All right, Victor is working on research. Alia got her post office letter.
I'm not sure how long we're gonna be in not rest mode, but downtime mode a little bit. I think Sit would just be poking around listening. He's being a snoop. Both in his head and outside of it.
Yeah, I'll make I'll have you make just sort of a listen check, because these 2 days, I think, before Fern's friends arrive are going to be largely downtime activities. If you want to make a listen check for today, and then I'll have you make another listen for tomorrow if we get through the day in short order.
Okay. Liquid core, or I'll do my opalite dice. I feel like it fits for the mask. Sorry, I just dropped that without. For the mask, because my opal dice are white. Tee.
Smiley face.
Ooh, that rolled really good. That would be a 20. Is that a 25? 18 plus 7.
Yes, 25. Okay, let me type some things. Actually, pop into whispers real quick.
Ooh!
Oh,
Hold on. Let me... Hello?
Hey, bestie.
Hi, bestie. I haven't been in this channel in a while.
One isn't... This first little thing isn't really tied in to your listen check specifically. But sometime in the mid-morning, you were overcome with this urge to laugh, and you don't know why. As for your listen check, they're chatty today. They're noisy to the point where it's hard to sort of pick things out. Among other voices, you do hear laughter. You do hear that sort of whispering gossip that people tend to do when it gets, well, exciting. You hear a conversation between the older woman and a voice that you have rarely heard before but are starting to hear more often these days. That's just sort of... You're pretty sure they're talking about Fern's hair color? Because they're making comments on white and silver and gold, and the old woman says it's a shame. They quite liked the pink. Maybe it'll come back. And the other voice says, well, I think it looks sharp the way it is. And you also hear that same voice a little later in the day, just sort of the not the old woman, the other one,
Mm.
just sort of, I didn't know she was so studious for things like this. And it's so chattery in there otherwise that there's not a lot that really stands out in your brain. There you get snatches and snippets of conversations, but those are the three main things.
Hmm.
All right.
Okay.
Well, we can turn.
Okay.
Do need to pick up a bloodline box.
Hello.
Hey, besties.
Hello.
You having fun doing psychological warfare against us?
I'm not doing any psychological warfare.
It was pretty tame
You're
this
doing
way around.
psychological warfare.
But they're
Victor-
pretty active. You know. You know
At
how
some
it be.
point, Victor is going to like pop back down and see if there are any of her citations on those shelves.
Yeah, okay. Make a perception check.
He knows how to do complex research.
Mm-hmm.
Perception.
Perception. Seems like the smartest option for this.
38. I rolled a 16 on the dice.
Jesus Christ.
You rolled it.
Oh my god, we're in 40 zone.
What's your perception right now?
16.
That's 32.
Oh, 32. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay. We're not
I
gonna
was
die.
so scared.
Fucking my brain.
You're valid. I had a panic. I had a panic moment. I was like, we are there.
It wouldn't surprise me that you managed to get a plus 22, but also, what the fuck?
Okay.
I'm gonna
That's-
get there sooner rather than later.
You are gonna get there, but it's not now, and that's important to me. So, okay. With a 32, it doesn't matter functionally. It just mattered to me emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
With a 32, I will say yes, you are able to find another one of the citations specifically on that is referencing much of the history of Evenfall in the time, so several centuries ago. Because you said that was more what you were focusing on.
Yeah.
What specific questions do you have? Because I will say it's a little bit of a dense read.
I am more than willing to, like... I'll buy it from the fucking library if necessary. I think she basically just wants the who, what, when, where, and why.
Okay. So,
You know?
yeah. Am I going to give you the condensed version verbally? I think I am.
Okay.
Strap in, boys.
Sorry.
So, several hundred years ago, there was a god. That god was called Kubala. Kubala was a chaos god, one of many chaos gods, but it was considered chaos in the sense of wild things, of reckless destruction, of frenetic energy that has nowhere to go, and so by God, it's going to tear things apart with it. That's the sort of god that it was. It was also sort of randomly the god of all lagomorphs, which is, you never know how these divine portfolios work out sometimes.
What the fuck is a lagomorph?
A lagomorph is a
Right.
classification
Okay.
of, it includes I believe rabbits, hares, and shrews.
Okay.
Ayo.
Which that one's like, bruh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but hey, chaos god. I guess it makes sense. I have an out of character reason for that, Ren, and I'll tell you sometime, and it's really funny. Sometimes the chaos god is also the god of shrews for no reason.
Point. It's fine.
Look, shrews. Anyway, it's for a meme. So that's Kubala, and Kubala was a god that liked to play in the mortal realm and did so a lot. And that was part of the problem, because a god playing too much in this territory, they can be here just fine, but it starts to get a little funny if they spend too much time messing with it.
Mm-hmm.
And it in particular liked to alter the flow of time.
Right.
Because it found it entertaining. And that was part of why it was such a loathed god, sort of among its counterparts, because most gods, even the chaotic evil ones, are like, if you're fucking with the very basic rules of reality, it makes all of us have a much harder time.
Mm-hmm.
And to be clear, this was a chaotic evil god. But this god sort of made many enemies, both in the divine and the mortal realm, and eventually it made a group of enemies that were, as far as you can tell, heroes of some legendary exploits who sort of had solved maybe the time slipping issues several hundred years ago, and had managed to fix a whole area that had been taken out of the flow of time completely, and restore it before it was destroyed through the process of looping in on itself over and over again, which is very impressive. But more impressive is the fact that supposedly one of them killed Kupala. And here's the thing. Gods can kill gods, and gods can kill mortals, and mortals can kill mortals, but mortals can't kill gods, not in the way that really matters. They can kill a vessel of a god, sure, but it doesn't do anything to the full form of the god. Supposedly, this hero, who had been mortal, at least at one point, killed Kubala. And this was the site of, apparently, both the death of one god and the ascension of another, except usually when that happens, there's, a new god, and everybody knows who it is, and it's like a whole big deal, and they get new followers, and it's like, whoa, holy shit, new member of the Pantheon in our lifetime? This is insane. But where there should have been a new god, there just sort of wasn't. The hero who killed Kubala apparently lived to tell the tale, but there are no records of them as an actual god themselves. Or at least if they were a god, they were the most low-key god the world has ever heard of, and most accounts actually say that they disappeared into the Feywild shortly after the end of Kubala. But when you kill a god, regardless of whether or not you replace it, it leaves some impact on the world around them, and even fall, and its sort of malleable nature, and the fact that it doesn't quite seem to fit with the rest of the empire, the continent, the world, is because you don't kill a god somewhere and expect that place to just stay normal. Evenfall is actually contraction of the city's full name. It wasn't whatever it was named before has long been forgotten to history. It was named for what the hero said supposedly before the final battle, which is even God's fall. Since then shortened to Evenfall, as a testament to both the god that died and the hero who killed it. But you're reading all this and you're like, what the fuck? How is this not, like, commonly talked about?
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't seem right.
I should have been taught this. They
Yeah.
should have been.
I should have been taught this in great detail. Everyone, like every person who attends schooling should be taught this. This is huge. This is insane. What the fuck? And yet you weren't. And yet this one's news to you, boys.
Okay.
And that's the gist. I can give more elaboration and I can give you more details. I just
Yeah.
don't necessarily want to walk through the entire history of Evenfall in excruciating detail while I have the whole party hostage.
Yeah, Victor's gonna fucking disappear for 2 days.
Victor is in the research rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Victor
Nice.
has entered the research dimension and will not be seen for a bit. Sorry, guys.
Correct.
So it's fucking telling
It is
stories for the next 2 days.
dimension, except this one does not unwillingly grab Victor. Victor just opens the door and walks in, and Ash doesn't eat for like 3 days. It's fine.
Yeah.
Look, if
fine.
Victor isn't eating, Soot's going to bring Victor food, or if Victor doesn't come to eat with us, Soot will at least make sure that Victor eats.
Aw.
He's used to taking care of people.
You knock on the door to give her food the first time, and she's like, what the fuck are you doing here?
Silently hand it to you. It's been like 6 hours. You're probably hungry, even if you don't know it.
Okay. Takes it and shuts the door.
Yeah, Soot just like nods and will like he goes. He just kind of sighs a little bit.
I am imagining Victor having I feel like shit, puts a snack in her mouth and just like, oh!
Yeah. Soot's like, I know, look, Soot's the one who's like, he's done that before as well, gotten into a thing and not realized he hasn't eaten until Adder's like, have you eaten? And he's like, oh.
Victor's sitting there like, oh my god, this is literally the most crazy fucked up shit I've ever read, and I hate it, and I want to cry about it, and then you eat food, and then you're like, this is still the most crazy fucked up shit I've ever read, but I'm not gonna cry about it.
Yeah.
Get fed, idiot.
There's probably even like a shot of whiskey on the plate, to be fair.
She's very grateful for that one, I think.
Yeah.
Alright. So Victor's in the rabbit hole. Soot is occasionally making sure she eats food.
I'm probably telling stories in between, just for...
Yeah, make a performance check for the evening.
Let's go with my liquid core. That's 14.
Can I do assistance? Or possibly do like the collaborative?
Yeah, collab.
You can make a performance check as well.
Oh god, I rolled. Jesus Christ, I forgot I had a plus 11, right? Or 12, excuse me.
We are shaking hands. I do need that to load,
Wait,
but
no,
I can at least
that's-
roll my dice first.
26, excuse me. I forgot I rolled a 14.
26. Okay.
I also rolled a 14.
Yo.
All right. Between the two of you, you guys met 32. Hold on. Never mind. I need to roll a different dice.
Uh-oh.
Oh, what?
We went over.
Between the two of you, you guys make 16 gold for the night.
Yeah. Eight for you, 8 for me.
Oh.
Well, that was fun. Yeah. We should keep doing this.
I mean, as long as... Depending on our audience, I'm happy to.
Think I'm the same way with that. As long as there's somebody to listen.
I just kind of need, as long as there's not a very specific person, I'm happy to dance.
So it kind of cocks his head a little bit.
I don't
So
dance for my husband anymore.
Oh, so that's why you look around a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I thought maybe it was like a nervous
I
tick
will
or
not
something.
dance for him anymore. Sorry, what was that?
So it was just like, I thought it was a nervous tick or something, so, but that makes sense.
She sort of shrugs, like it could be.
Well, look, I don't know what your last man looked like, but if he shows up, there's gonna be plenty of people here that are willing to beat him up for you.
Add her over in the corner like, I don't know what he looks like either. I don't even need to.
He gestures to Adder, case in point.
I'm ready for it. I'd fight him. Does he have a sword? Probably not. I'm probably better at it anyway.
Oh, for sure. No one's better with a sword than you.
No.
He was the no, she doesn't use past tense though. He's the quick-tongued and good with words. I think he was pretty good with the knife, but I don't really remember.
Well,
It never came up. Unlike our current occupation, merchantry generally did not require one to know how to use a weapon.
oh, that's a shame.
Generally. It is, isn't it?
Can't say that my line of work usually dabbled in that either, unless I needed to, but things change. Let's hope that he hasn't gotten any better with that knife.
Maybe he has.
Doesn't matter. I've got a bigger sword.
This is true.
You don't bring a knife to a sword fight.
You could, but
Adder
it'd be
having
unwise.
a dick measuring contest with Aya's ex-husband.
Yes, and it's funny because
Good
only
for
one
him.
of these men actually has a dick.
I love my man. His sword is better anyways.
His sword is better. I'm so sorry. I'm canceling myself.
PK, I think you need to go to horny jail, and I think you need to remove me from horny jail.
Oh, I forgot I put you in horny jail. Why did I put you in horny jail?
Because it was the only jail you had.
Oh,
Yeah, I said something, and horny jail was the best fit.
We need to make a more inclusive jail, I guess.
We do need a more inclusive jail. I'll put myself in jail. I think I do deserve that one, I'm not gonna lie.
Liberals talking
Aya is
about
going
trans prisoners.
to-
Jesus.
True.
Oh,
Aya is going to preen the lads as thank you.
oh.
God bless. Get
I have
preened,
just
idiot.
remembered I need to get my gun repaired.
Oh,
you,
yes.
You do need to get your gun repaired.
It emerged from the research dimension only to get gun repaired.
I will say.
Literally, I think she's eating and she spots it on the desk and she's like, fuck!
Where's the tinkerer guy?
Literally.
I will say it's not likely that there's one open at this point in the day.
Tomorrow.
Fuck yeah, fern braids. Okay, hold on. I'm having a Victor moment in that I'm like, hungry. So I need to go grab myself like a slice of pizza or something. I will be back in 5 to 7 minutes.
Shit,
Eat,
I'm
buddy.
We will resume very shortly, I promise. Sorry.
It's alright. It's okay. Man.
I love Aya and Soot performing together.
Same. Because poor Matt is hurting today. We miss you, Matt. We love you. I want to talk with fucking Garfield soon. So wanted to ask so badly, be like, hey, so like, do you want me to like make you a story or something? Like, want me to put your legacy out there or something? I want to do that so bad for Garfield. Make a bet, like, ask how Garfield wants to be represented or immortalized in word.
Incredible.
Sid wants to do something nice for this interesting man. He makes drinks. Sid likes that. That's cool.
I should put some points into Escape Artist Fire.
That reminds me, I was...
She's never getting anything in any of the knowledge skills.
Nice. I actually have a couple points in Escape Artist. I forgot I put those in there. Pretty satisfied with what I've got, though.
Yeah. God.
Oh, I forgot I had insane spellcraft and use magic device.
Certain runs are shaking hands.
Yeah. I think I took them because nobody else had them, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I was like,
They
all
haven't come
right.
up at the moment, but no, I think Spellcraft has come up because I think you've used it for
Yeah.
Like identification.
Mm-hmm. Which, I keep forgetting. Well, we haven't needed to use it. I can technically now, identify items as long as I touch them. So,
Yo.
never need to use a spell on that shit. I get it I think it's either always or a certain amount of, equal to my charisma modifier or something. I have to check real quick.
Hello, I'm back. So
Welcome
sorry
back.
about that. Consumed with feral desire for pizza.
He's
what type of pizza?
Margarita.
Fair enough.
Okay. Victor's in the research dimension. Soot and I are busy. Fern, what are you up to?
I'm gonna go be a slut again.
God bless.
Yeah.
Fern slut era resume.
Let's go. I'm going to dress the same way. It's
Iconic.
my slut outfit.
It's your slut outfit.
We love that for you.
Wish. I mean, Sweetwater's good, right?
Sweetwater's good.
Yeah.
You've had success there in the past.
Yeah.
You show up. It's sort of interesting. You rarely show up to Sweetwater and don't recognize at least a few people there, but you're sort of having a hard time finding a face in the crowd that you recognize, which maybe is what you're going for. But Navi's not there. Giselle isn't there. Garvold isn't there.
Day off. Good for him.
Day off, King. We respect the lack of grind.
It's so true.
You, however, are not expecting to make eye contact with one Lady Lacrimosa, who is sort of sitting in the corner, almost pouting. She doesn't look too happy to be there.
Well, I'm going to go and say hello.
So polite. She looks up at you and, oh, Fern, yes?
Yes.
That's good to see you. You changed your look.
Oh, yes, a little bit. You know, sometimes things
It's-
just need a change.
It's very becoming.
Thank you.
Would you like a drink to sit?
Oh, sure. Thank you.
I'm a little surprised to see you here. It's an interesting environment.
Yes. I would, need some time to myself, need to get, some things off of my mind, and, well, this is kind of the best place I know.
Well, I suppose it's good for getting things off your mind after a fashion. This statement is punctuated by somebody getting table flipped.
I mean, people watching gets very interesting.
Oh yes,
And
it's
that's one of my favorite pastimes.
I do see why Genevieve spends so much time here in terms of keeping a finger on the pulse, as it were. It's definitely, well, there is a pulse.
Yes.
An interesting one, to be sure. What do you drink?
It's fruit flavors mostly.
Oh, all right.
But I can drink anything.
All right. She snaps her fingers, and one of the gentlemen who you know usually accompanies her sort of looks over from an adjacent table and goes to the bar. And he returns a minute later with a couple drinks for you and for her. And you guys can spend a sort of pleasant little while people watching or chit-chatting as the mood strikes you before the band that had been sort of taking a break is beginning a new set, and let me tell you, it's not great. And she just... much as the atmosphere for people watching is so interesting, I can't help but feel that my evening would better be spent elsewhere.
I'm beginning to agree for myself. I think my evening would...
Do you care to join me?
Oh, that sounds lovely.
Well then, let us find a better way to entertain ourselves.
That sounds wonderful.
All right. You and Lady Lacrimosa can head to her inn. Is much nicer than your guys's. You are also accompanied by one of her companions. To the extent to which that guy's involved is up to you. But I have an updated Lacrimosa pit crew that reveals some slight information that nobody had before.
Oh God.
And that's just for the record, I've had that pit crew for months. I didn't make it for this occasion. This has always been a fact about this woman. It's just now relevant. So it's relevant to your journey.
Lacrimosa and Navi have been.
Look,
wow. Okay.
if you don't sleep with the NPCs I give you, what's the point?
This is so fucking true.
This is how you unlock excess information.
Yeah.
It is. It's true.
Gestures to Adder.
Victor would. I was about to say Victor would never, but that's also not true.
Yeah.
Definitely not true. Victor would.
God.
Victor had a foursome with Navi. Victor cannot claim to be better.
No, I just meant specifically about Lacrimosa, but then I was like, nope, actually.
No, you know she would.
Yeah.
L. But it's a good evening. Overall.
He wants to see him real quick.
Jack!
Jack time?
Jack.
Oh my god, his face.
Oh,
It's him.
I love
him
how
so
much Jack is a guy.
Yeah, he's just a dude. Oh, look at him face.
His face is so
just
dumb.
He just doesn't mind what you do to him. It's great.
Why'd they make a guy like that?
That's what I think with Lance all the time.
I want to see him. I want to hold him.
He hates to be held, so I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I want to just sit there in the room with him.
Yeah. What is it with long hair cats and not wanting to be held? Because Lance is the same way.
It's okay. I'm used to a cat that is unscoopable.
Man.
Alright.
I love him.
Fern has a nice evening.
Fern has a nice evening. Everybody else
Yay.
also has a nice evening in various ways. It is now Serenith 30th.
Hey, yo.
I suppose I can. Is the research dimension Victor harassment?
No.
No. Victor's
Okay.
harassing herself. That's not harassment.
I need a tinkerer.
You need a tinkerer. Make a knowledge local check to try and find a guy.
Oh, 25.
25. Okay. I'm gonna be real, I didn't have a tinkerer NPC lined up, so you know who this is?
Who?
It's just Susanna.
Yay!
There she
You find a
is.
little shop that claims to specialize in clockwork, automaton, and other eccentricities. With a small in the window, you're like, is this the right place? And then in the window, you see there is like a gun displayed on a little cushion, but like a very small, posh, like mother of pearl handle, like ladies' gun. But you're like, no, this is probably the right place.
Mm-hmm.
And you go in, and there is a woman in a blue dress with curly red hair, bending over a counter, and she looks like she's working on a gun right now, actually. And she looks up at you, and good morning.
Morning.
How can I help you today?
Well, and I will pull the gun out of its holster.
She looks immediately excited, and reaches out to take it from you.
Hands it to her.
Well, shoot, you did a number on this thing, didn't you?
No.
Just misfire, or were you doing something stupid with it?
Just misfired.
Alright, that's fair. Not that I expect anybody would tell me if they had been doing something stupid with it, but it is actually relevant for the record.
Good to know. It's just a recent acquisition, and I still don't have a hold on it, right? I don't think.
Now it's hard to screw around with something like this. things are, it's nice. It's got a lot of custom work done, doesn't it?
It does.
It's not bad. She's like turning it over in her hands and like fucking around with it, looking, checking where it's jammed and where it isn't. There's still bullets in this?
Should be. I didn't really want to touch it.
You know
I
what?
know how.
That's smart.
I know how to make it safe. That's about it.
All right, good girl. Okay, let's see. And you're just wanting this repaired. You're not wanting any upgrade work done.
No, just the repair at the moment.
All right. Well, this will take me. I can get this done probably in the end of the day. And yeah.
That would be greatly appreciated.
Okay. Then that is what I'll do. If you don't mind, I will have to give you. This probably doesn't take standard bullets, does it?
As far as I can tell, no.
Well, I think I have. If you give me till tomorrow, I can probably work out a mold that'll let me cast some for this.
I have some more of the bullets that came with it, if that would help.
It sure would. Why don't you put that down on the counter?
I will.
All right. If you're okay to leave this with me, I can get this back to you with fresh bullets and a mold by tomorrow.
That is also fine.
All right. Sounds good.
I am quite attached to it. It might be new, but I do know it real well.
She's a pretty thing. I understand why you are attached. I would hate to see such fine thing not be used due to what should be a relatively easy fix. So I promise I will take my dearest care with it.
Make sure you do.
I will. Don't you worry. I'm experienced with the things myself.
Mm-hmm.
You come on back tomorrow morning, I'll have this all set for you.
Tomorrow morning it is.
All right. Okay. I'll figure out what the repair price will be in a minute. I don't really feel like figuring out a price right now. So Susanna exists in Pathfinder only because I didn't have a Tinkerer NPC ready.
Oh.
L.
Good.
Much like Granny
No, I
I
exists.
think Susanna deserves to exist in Pathfinder.
Susanna exists in Pathfinder. Susanna was built in Pathfinder in my heart.
Yes.
Wait, that has some connotations.
Yes, it does.
That
there's
and also an NPC of mine.
there's an unimaginable number of connotations in this bitch. Don't you worry. Don't read Susanna being in Pathfinder too deeply. She's here to be a tinker when she wants to be.
Hell yeah.
When I need to have an NPC.
I love that.
Every time we need to see a tinkerer, it's just Susanna.
It's just Susanna.
She travels a lot.
It's the traveling Susanna Tinkerer shop. And that's what it's gonna be for the sake of the meme, the bit, and also simplicity.
Or there's
You're welcome,
multiple
everybody.
Susannas that are all
fair,
sisters.
You did make a lot of the Taldarian party in Pathfinder.
Look, Taldori is great in Pathfinder. Anyway, so Victor, your gun will be returned to you tomorrow. You are able to return to the research rabbit hole to the extent that you want to. I imagine it is a fairly significant extent.
Yes,
Um,
I am in the rabbit hole.
she is in the rabbit hole, and everybody else, tasks, objects, goals.
Hmm.
I mean, no, wait, am I unmuted?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
You're here.
Yeah. Aya doesn't really have anything she wants to prioritize doing, but she is going to go hang out with the person at Naga's Arcana. Like, go for purely social visits, and possibly, if anything leaps out as good gift to purchase. Once Danella gets back, she is gonna get the gloves that protect you from poison.
The gloves for if you want to touch poison.
Yes. But right now, Danella is currently missing.
She sure is. Pour one out for Danella.
Hopefully, Danella will not be missing next week.
Next week we might not play. But
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
following that, Danella will be back, guys. Don't worry. Next week I've just got a lot of shit going on with grad school and stuff. But if nobody has anything in specific that they're up to, I assume the party is reuniting for dinner, as per usual.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Victor, you finally drag yourself out of the research rabbit hole.
Correct.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Wants
Thanks.
whiskey.
Whiskey for Victor.
So we'll call
As long as
over
you
a
have
bottle.
actual meal as well.
Sid'll have some whiskey with you. He's not too picky about the alcohol, even though he prefers some other ones. But a bottle would
Bitches.
probably be cheaper.
Bitches be drunken.
Victor's not getting fully drunk. Victor just whiskey
Yeah,
As
need
a
a sip.
tribute.
for the agonies.
It's the fucking agonies, yeah. Sometimes the agonies, am I right, gamers?
Fern wants more having a beverage.
Beverages as a treat.
For the agonies.
For the agonies. Everybody can have a beverage if they want. I'm assuming Aya still is not.
She might have a little beverage, but she doesn't want to get like.
I could always get you a mocktail too. I'm sure those exist.
You describe. She's like, I want to share the experience of drinking, but I'm not keen on getting drunk. And you're like, mocktail, and she's like, what?
Oh yeah, no, something that kind of like tastes similar, but it doesn't have any alcohol in it. It still feels like you're drinking with everyone else. I used to do it with the kids sometimes.
You get wide eyes and little hops.
With the older kids, you know, they'd want to go along with you, and you know, sometimes older people have drinks around the kids, and you know, you don't want the little ones around that. And there's other people that just don't drink, which I think is great. Do you have preference on like fruity, or I'm sure they could come up with something.
Pretty sounds good. She sort of thinks about it for a minute, and there's that sort of head cock.
Hell yeah. I as Ren don't know very many different types of mocktail cocktails, but I think Soot would.
Just get her a virgin daiquiri.
Yeah.
You can acquire a mocktail for the bird and drinkies for everybody else.
Yeah.
And how Victor's not like drinking too much.
No.
You said, Soot, how's your alcohol level?
I think he's having like probably 2 to 3 shots, but that's what he's used to having.
Okay.
So he just kind of stops there. So
Soot,
not enough
Jay
to get
chilling.
hammered.
Aya, drinking mocktails. Fern, alcohol quantity?
I'm thinking about it. I, this is a real bad answer. I think until someone tells them to stop.
Oh boy.
All right. I will say
If no one else is telling them to stop by like the 5th one, Victor's
Yeah.
like,
I
hold
think
on.
Soot's on the same level where it's like
Yeah.
the 5th one comes out and Soot's like, all right, water from now on. We're putting the booze away.
You're mean.
Soot and Victor on the same page. Like that's enough with that.
God.
all right. You're
Saving
a
you
little
from
sauced,
yourself.
Fern. By which I mean you're pretty sauced, Fern.
Nice.
The door to the outside opens, and the warm summer breeze sort of floats in, and two people enter and are
I've
sort
made a
of
mistake.
looking around. And are sort of looking around. One of them is sort of a middle-aged woman, probably with fairer skin and blue hair. And the other is a taller individual, very dark skin, but with patches of vitiligo patches on their face and a large afro. And they are looking around like they're looking for someone specific. And it so happens that when they turn their eyes to your table in the corner, they seem to have found what they're looking for. And they make their way over. Fern, you recognize these people.
I do. It's my buddies.
It's your buddies. Do you say anything before they are on their way to you? Do you say anything?
Fern waves.
The woman waves back.
Oh, we should.
Hello.
Hello,
Hello.
Fern.
Hello. So I'm gonna just apologize off the bat. I did not realize you'd be arriving tonight. And I made an error.
The taller person squints at you a little bit and says, "You're very drunk.
Yes.
You don't look very well."
Yeah, but we can discuss that later. I promise. You guys can know. I
All
like
right.
you two.
That's
I
good.
like you two very much.
We like you too, Fern. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
Would you like to introduce us?
Yes. Fern just kind of like goes around and just gives everyone's name, but then points at Victor, and it's just like the prompt of like, and you are.
Well, she was gonna say Victor.
She still can.
Yeah.
I don't know, can she?
Technically, she can.
Mhm.
Can she?
Are you trying to exchange a look with Fern about this?
No. Victor's in the math dimension. Victoria, though most people call me Victor.
Well, it's good to meet you all. I'm Nova. And I'm OST. And I hear there's been some interesting things happening around here.
Yes. There's tapestry about.
Yeah. Well, always a fun day when there's tapestry about.
Out of character, has anyone checked the pickle jar recently?
Nobody
think-
has checked the pickle jar recently.
I think Victor's gonna pull it out.
In the bar.
Maybe we should.
Why not? Fuck
Go
it.
maybe we should go to a room before discussing this kind of matter.
Just
Maybe?
like kind of not. She's not gonna like put it on the table, but like in that like low key like kind of like show it a little bit out of her bag or whatever.
OST
Trying to be
holds out a
subtle
hand
about
for
it.
it.
I think perhaps not in the tap room.
That's fine. Should we go up to a different room?
Might be wise. Probably won't have anybody listening in.
Let's go to mine.
Let's go to Fern's room.
I'm up. I'm going. Let's fucking go.
Nova and OST are following you.
Victor's getting another glass of whiskey and following.
So it's just gonna take the bottle.
All right. The gang relocates to Fern's room. As soon as you are in Fern's room, OST turns to you, Victor, and may I see it?
She will pull out the jar.
They will hold out a hand for it.
Victor will give it.
All right. They sort of turn away from the group, and they're just kind of looking at whatever is within the jar, which is distinctly less rabbit and distinctly more goop than it was like the last time you really checked on it. Which, yeah, that's fair.
I think Victor will supply. It used to be very much in the shape of a rabbit.
Well, they can't always hold on to that for very long. There's still some fur, though.
So grimaces.
Yeah.
Victor seems less perturbed by this.
Nova is sitting down on the bed and pulling out a notebook of some sort.
Are we supposed to not know which one is which?
Oh,
I'm so sorry. Nova is the blue hair, and OST
Okay.
is the person with the afro.
Okay.
I forgot that I didn't distinguish those two. I have knowing about Nova and OST is part of the following Nocturne on Tumblr.com experience, but I think that was before you followed Nocturne on Tumblr.com,
yeah.
Yeah.
which is fair and valid. But no, Nova is the woman with blue hair, and she pulls out a notepad. And so, rabbit-shaped.
Yes. There was. How many were there?
There was an owl for the first time, and then a deer the second. No, it was the wolves the second
rabbits,
time.
There were, I want to say, 4 or 5 in the warren. after it had already been cleared out once.
Hmm.
There's also been an owl and a deer and
Some wolves.
I asked Joan going, are we missing any others?
The wolves.
The wolves, the
The
owl,
wolves.
the deer, then these rabbits.
Where were the wolves?
I between the road here and Sonterra about give a day,
wolf-
you know.
The wolves were actually north on your way
Oh.
back from Blind Man's Bluff, but I
Ah,
assume you will
right.
tell her the correct information.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
You're good.
That is Parker doing a oopsie.
Yes, I've given you a lot of goop creatures. You're so valid. All right. The
They'd
wolves.
also
We knew about those wolves. The owl and the deer. Tell me about those.
The deer we saw on the way to, what was the place? What's the name?
For player memories, you saw the owl on the way to Sonterra and the
Yes.
deer on the way back.
Yes, that's what my
and
brain was trying to
the deer
supply.
was stalking
Sunterra.
us for about a day and a half before we finally ended up fighting it.
Yep.
That is information that Aya does provide, is that the deer was
Mm-hmm.
actively following us for...
That's interesting.
Yeah, it got at her pretty good.
Yeah, there's some kind of something still clinging to him. I can only see it sometimes.
Soot nods.
But
I've
it
seen
looked
it
like-
too.
That was the main reason we contacted you.
What does it look like and when?
It's... Do we have a specific
looks
notion of when it's happened that we've seen it?
It's mostly just been when you're not looking.
Yeah. When we're not looking, I first fully noticed it. I don't know how many days ago it was. I am soup.
Fair.
And yeah, Aya will lay out the timeline of when we encountered the deer, when she noticed it, and the fact that she only notices it now, sometimes out of the corner of her eye, even with knowing what she's looking for.
It seems to be trying to hide. Trying to make us think that it's not there anymore, I think.
OST hands the jar over to Nova and turns to you all and says, well, that's good.
Are you being sarcastic? Because I feel like you're being sarcastic.
No, I'm not. Why would I be sarcastic right
Okay.
now?
If it was being more obvious, then it wouldn't have any reason to fear us.
Exactly. Who are you?
I said my name is Victoria. You can call me Victor.
I know your name, yes.
A traveling companion of Fern's.
Do you study the tapestry? Was the question I was trying to...
Oh. I have had a few instructional lessons, but I don't study it directly now.
All right. Victoria is correct. If it weren't hiding, it would be much more of a concern. It is hiding. That is a sign that it is not something that can establish itself well enough to not have to be concerned about the threat of harm. So it has to conceal itself inside a prime material plane host, which is resourceful, and not the worst thing that can happen. There are plenty of things that will conceal themselves in a host, or rather attach themselves to a host but not bother with concealment. And when they do not bother with concealment, things usually progress considerably faster and are considerably stronger, and there's rarely any extraction process that is feasible without great detriment to the health and life of the host. So
is being so normal right now.
it's very good to know that it is hiding. That's very, very good information to have.
Okay.
Will it be easy to get out?
It depends. He turns to Adder, who is just sort of sitting in the corner like, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah.
Turns to Adder. He's like, you're the one with the creature. And Adder's like, yeah, that's me. Have you previously been a host for any extraplanar creatures? Well, how the fuck am I meant to know that?
You'd know.
Yeah, you'd
Well,
know.
fucking would I, Victor?
You would.
Well, in that case, no, I don't think I fucking have. And OST turns back to Fern. It probably won't be particularly difficult.
Good. Good to know.
What?
You're very
Fern is,
drunk.
Fern is like sitting on their bed and leaning against the wall. It's like, yes. Yes. I know.
Being influenced by extraplanar stuff won't affect any of that, would it?
Was the influence done by manner of possession or infestation?
No.
Then no, probably not.
Okay. In Sid's brain, he's like, oh, thank God, the mask shit wouldn't affect this. Hopefully.
None of the rest of us know that the mask is goop-ish, so we're sitting here.
Sid's literally just thinking Adder was influenced by the mask at one point, and like.
Yeah, no, it was.
Mm-hmm.
No, that wasn't. I cannot say anything because we in character do not know that the mask is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what that was.
Yeah, and Sid's brain, he's mostly like, it was kind of a possession. He doesn't really know what kind, so.
Now, what's more important than this, with a gesture towards Adder, is where this round is coming from. If you've had 3 incidents that are fairly spaced apart geographically, we could be looking at 3 breaches, or we could be looking at one that is centralized with a very wide-reaching escape. Neither of which are ideal. The wolves are part of a separate incident that has already been contained.
That's good to know.
They each have had a level of different properties.
Explain those.
I will describe the deer versus the rabbit versus the owl.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well,
Parker would not Parker does not exactly always know how to words that, so.
You're very valid.
And Victor's a little grumpy right now.
Victor grumpy with her whiskey.
So valid.
Well, that lends more credence to the theory that it is 3 separate breaches of containment. Although it's not it could be 2 if the owl and the deer were of the same properties at different stages of advancement.
The owl got me in my face pretty good, but it didn't stick.
May I look at your face?
Of course.
OST is gonna come over and poke at your face a little bit.
Yep.
Can I ask what you mean by containment?
I mean, are you familiar with what the tapestry is?
We've discussed it as a prison before.
It is not a
Okay.
prison. It is containment.
Metaphors.
It's not an effective metaphor.
We had this discussion.
Listen.
I tried.
OST stands up from where they were sort of partially perched on the bed and turns to Victor and like opens a bag at their hip, like a messenger bag. And it looks, and they pull out a book that looks like it must have taken up the entirety of the bag. And they set it down on the table and they're like, this is a collection of journals that discuss some of the nomenclature of the Dark Tapestry. They reach into their bag and pull out another book, larger than the first one, and set it on top. This has a series of argumentative essays discussing whether it is appropriate to call something like this prison versus containment versus any other form of language, including those that mimic the institutions we have on the prime material plane. The conclusion is largely that a prison is not accurate. They pull out a third book. You have no idea how the bag is holding these. It doesn't look like a bag of holding, but there's just books in there, and just continue stacking books on the table. Sort of getting a little off topic until eventually they're like, now, these last few are not as relevant to the point about prisons versus containment, but it is not an effective metaphor for what the Dark Tapestry is, and it is better to use containment terminology.
Noted.
All right. You are welcome to read any of these if you would find them beneficial.
She looks very sullen, I will say.
And now I understand why Nocturne was like, they will have very interesting conversations.
If these books are within reach, Soot might like take a peek at one if it looks like he's not going to be like stopped from doing so.
Yeah, you can easily pick one up and take it. OST is returning to poking at Fern's face. And it's got one of those titles that's like a meta review of like Dark Tapestry literature. Like it's like a 16-word title.
Nice.
And it's like, why would anybody write this?
Oh, I forgot. Mentally sits like, I forgot how dry these things are.
it's dry as fuck, dude.
So
just looking at the
crunchy.
title, you're like, this is making me thirsty.
Yeah. Takes a swig from the whiskey bottle.
Aya
but-
is not like she understands, but you guys know her well enough to know that she's just going, Okay, this is so far beyond what I can comprehend
God bless.
that I'm just gonna act like you answered my question.
Seth's also gonna take a seat next to Adder.
Nova leans over a little bit to Victor and just... It's totally understandable, though, to call it a prison from a perspective of somebody who has not done a ton of research in the area. It makes sense as sort of an entry point into understanding of what the tapestry is from your standard layman's perspective.
Thank you. The fucking expressions on my face.
I feel it in my bones.
I need you all to understand that that OST pulling out the books was something that Nocturne and I discussed in Gayvember because we predicted that it would happen exactly like that.
Yeah.
I felt it.
We were like, Victor's gonna call it a prison. OST's gonna be mad. And Nova still talking to Victor is just, so this is was one of a few rabbits, you said.
Yes.
And what happened to the other ones?
Killed.
What did they do when they died?
I think I saw something particular.
Aya, what did they do when they died?
I mean, when they died, they lost all form. I was more concerned with the grass around the warren. It was... Aya takes a second to try and describe it, as I am combing through my memory to try and remember how you described it.
It was sort of like shifting back and forth like an optical illusion tends to do.
Yeah.
And
The
was sort of
initial
nauseating.
thing that concerned her, I think, was that the grass looked, there was a very particular way you described it, which Aya remembers, but I don't. But it's... and Aya does describe that she looked at the grass and wanted to sort of take it out by the roots to see if the stuff was, like, spreading from the warren.
Mm-hmm.
And then the grass and the dirt in her hand sort of in and out of view before being completely gone.
All right. Okay, that's good to know. And pardon me for asking this. Do you have any known pre-existing conditions of madness?
Mm.
She shakes her head.
All right. Have you noticed anything since this?
Beyond the little flit glimpses of what's on Ada, no. And since they seem to be purely grounded in what's going on, I'm going to say no.
Oh, those are certainly reality. If you haven't noticed anything else, though, similar to the grass isn't concerning in and of itself. If things start disappearing on you, keep an eye on that. That goes for everyone, unless, of course, you're used to things disappearing on you, in which case, take note anyway, but it's probably less concerning. It's just when somebody does... Well, people, you know how it is with the madness.
Sith's brain immediately goes to Donela and fucking Garvold.
Well, if you don't know how it is with the madness, good for you. I hope you never find out.
Knock on wood. Sith's gonna knock on wood. He's still looking at the page.
You're like, well, you're pretty sure this is a book about there's creatures in there.
Yeah.
That's how far you've gotten so far.
I need you to be so aware that that in the are you aware of experiencing madness? I did very nearly go, well, I did used to be a bird, but figured that would not be helpful. But that was the first response that
Naturally.
Bird madness is different than than our madness.
Madness.
I would assume.
she possibly is a little bit mad because she thinks like a bird, but
And
kind of judgmental strangers. And she's just like, you do not need to know that I used to be a bird. Well,
not quite the kind of madness they're looking for anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Different caliber.
Is OST still poking at Fern's face?
Yeah, OST probably sits back after a bit and just... Well, you're not infested. Congratulations.
Does my face feel cold?
As compared to your usual temperature?
Yes.
Maybe a little considering it's Serenith. I would expect you to be flushed, but you do seem...
Yeah.
Overall, you do not seem well, but it does not seem to be infestation.
Okay.
You're also drunk, which I would think would make you a little warmer than you are currently.
But I'm cold?
You're average temperature. But again, if you had signs of infestation, I would expect you to be considerably colder. Do you feel cold?
Sometimes, but I don't think it's. You guys remember that? Like, speaking to the rest of the party, you guys remember that mask we picked up, right?
Hard to fit.
Well, sometimes when I look at it, my face feels cold, but you know.
Sit close to the book.
Maybe that's just me.
How long have you felt like that?
A bit.
Have you been looking at the mask a lot then?
I've looked at it like twice since we got it.
It's gonna look at the Nova and OST. Do you guys know about the mask? As Fern told you.
I do not know about the mask, no.
We picked up this weird mask thing. That's like, if you wear it, it compels people to like follow you, but you also stop being a person.
It happened to Adder and a bunch of other bandits. We eventually broke it, but the mask had either become something like a person, but wasn't. I don't know. I don't know if it was actually a person to begin with, or if it just... Either way, when the person died, it was just gone. Nothing existed, aside from the mask.
We should put that in a box.
Maybe we should show it to these people.
Well, I don't know if it's exactly our area, but I have to admit I'm a little curious.
So it's
but
gonna
maybe
look
not
at
right
Fern.
now.
Yeah, probably not right now. You know, the tapestry is more important.
It's not even that that's more important. It's just that you're a little drunk right now. And I think maybe we should deal with potentially relevant artifacts with everybody sober, don't you?
But it's more fun that way.
I mean,
we should have stuck
I'm not
to
going
it
to
too.
disagree. But this seems to be a point of concern. And it might be wiser to deal with it with sobriety on the table.
You are one of the most reasonable people I know.
I'm so glad to hear it. So, the mask aside, you have encountered... Did you see the wolves when they were alive or when they were dead?
Dead.
Did.
Okay, that's what I thought. I didn't think anybody had dealt with those before we got to them. We collectively. The owl was pretty advanced beyond what the rabbits were, although this one is really chugging along, don't you think? If it had the right environment, I think it could really thrive. But it ought to go home. But the owl, that's pretty advanced. But if it didn't infest Fern, that is a positive. The deer hunting you is a little bit of a concern. Because when these things hunt, they do it in a weird way compared to your standard prime material predators, if you will. And I'm not sure that I really like that it was following you from a city, because that sort of implies that the rift of its source was in or near Sonterra. And that could be an interesting challenge. The rabbits, though, I would guess, OST, feel free to disagree with me, are from a separate, smaller, more self-contained rift near to the farmland. It probably sprung up as a matter of stress after the source of the wolves were taken care of, but I think if it's small, it should be an easy fix. It's just a matter of, well, making sure there haven't been too many breaches. Everybody following?
So nods.
Yeah.
Now, if the owl and the deer are from the same breach, that is a positive, believe it or not, because it makes more sense than why the deer was following you, and it makes it more likely that the deer wasn't from Sonterra. If they're from separate breaches, then I'm very worried about the situation in Sonterra if left unchecked for too terribly long. But we'll have to see where that goes. The thing about these rifts is that if you don't find them, they'll get bigger. But if you don't find them and somebody else finds them first, they can hide them pretty easy, no matter what size they get to, because sometimes if you're looking for a hairline fracture, it's really hard to see no matter what angle you're looking at it from, especially if somebody does the barest minimum of veiling. So I hope I'm making sense. I'm trying to make... I know there's sort of different familiarity levels here within the group.
No, it's making sense.
All right. So, so a rift being so close to a major populated city is a little bit of concern, because sometimes people are interested in the tapestry for reasons that are well, not everybody is invested in containment the way we are, and we collectively are of the opinion that things that are contained are really best left contained for the good of everyone involved. So that is a concern. But we'll have to investigate a little bit more to figure it out. But if you all know the situation with the rabbits, I think it will be easiest to deal with these things one at a time, starting with what's small and close to home, as it were, and then trying to figure out more as we go along. And then, of course, Adder, we want to get that thing out of you, don't we? Adder's like, I sure hope we fucking do. I don't know what the alternative is, but I'd rather not just sort of leave it here. She's like, actually, that is exactly the alternative. We could leave it there.
No,
but
no.
I don't necessarily recommend that. Sometimes it works out fine. Sometimes it's only minor inconveniences. Sometimes it can get pretty interesting. I don't think yours will turn interesting anytime soon, but, you know, you leave these things to sit long enough and they can. The real interesting ones are when people are doing it on purpose. That is always fun.
The
for
more
some
this is
people.
talked about, so it looks more, just a little bit more nauseous.
I'm sorry, that's not really relevant. Yours, I think we'll have to do a little bit more testing just to see what's going on in there. But it should be pretty simple. Sometimes it takes a while, but it's not really like there's a time constraint in your case. Certain cases, it's like, well, we can either do it the risky way and get it out quick, or we can do it the safer way and get it out slow. But in certain cases, the safer way is too slow and you have to take the risk, because otherwise you're left with just a big pile of goop, and that's not always what you want. Sometimes it is. Not usually in these cases, though.
Right now, definitely.
Not right now. Today is not a day for that. Now, I'm really interested in this little guy. It's sort of given up on the rabbit thing mostly, but there is still hair on it, like OST said, and so that's kind of fun. You gotta wonder what that's going to turn into. Sometimes they pick new things to look like, but it's sort of based on their observational experience. I think it's kind of cute, though. So,
Right.
now, I know we have just sort of intruded on your evening. We sort of pushed it double time to get here. Because it seems like we're having a lot of trouble in this area lately, and of course we wanted to see Fern, but it seems like we've caught you at sort of an unideal time.
No, it's fine.
Mostly just because Fern is very drunk right now.
I mean, it's...
Hey, you don't have to bring it up.
Well,
It'll be
if I don't
fine.
bring it up, it's pretty evident just from looking at
Okay,
you.
and then we can leave it.
Okay.
I'll tell you about it later.
Okay. But for the rest of you, I don't want to sort of infringe on your usual process, I suppose. We have protocols that we go through. But you all are adventurer type, I guess, so you probably approach things a little bit of a different way. And you're the ones who have laid eyes on this current situation most recently, so we do want to honor that firsthand experience.
Thank you.
So I think if I had to make my choice, I would like to make a second visit to that farmer that had these rabbits.
Alright.
But I don't want to just walk up sort of unannounced, so I would love to have the group of you accompany us. Not to mention, I'll be very frank and upfront. I'm not really much in field work these days, but this seems small and interesting, and I, have personal investments, so I'd like to be involved in it.
I think that's easily done.
Cool. And if it works to do that tomorrow, I wouldn't mind that. And maybe OST, you or I could stay back and we could sort of try and work on the adder situation independently while one of us goes to check out the rabbits. OST that's fine. Yes. I'd like to see the rabbits. But if you'd like to see the rabbits more, we'll figure that out tomorrow, I guess. Either way, several problems to deal with. Rabbits, adder, deer, owl. Lots of exciting things. Do you all have any other concerns?
I don't think Soot has any for them, but he is doing the mandatory listen check.
Mandatory listen check?
Because
Yeah,
by
absolutely.
God,
make a listen.
man cannot do insights or anything. He's not so good at reading
Yeah,
people.
can I sense motive on these guys? Like, they
Yeah,
seem past vibe check, but I just want to.
You can make a sense motive easy, yeah, for sure.
Oh,
Everybody make
Jesus Christ,
any
that's a lot.
checks y'all want.
Okay.
Victor should. He is too busy.
Yeah.
What is that?
Aya is aggressively acting so person-shaped. Like, she is stimming with the fan, but she is like, I am being so human right now.
Hi. Affirmations for when you are human. Yeah, so
I am being so human right now. I know what to do with my hands.
in between masking so hard, you do like the vibes on these people are the first one, I gotta give it to you right off the bat. Number 1, nerds. Hello? What
Yeah.
the fuck? Number 2,
Autism.
genuinely autism. Different flavors of being neurodivergent, but like you're sort of having like an autism to autism like recognition moment, especially with OST. It's like, yeah. No, that's
so
fair.
normal.
That's like he's clearly not really trying that hard to be normal, and good for him.
Yeah.
Number 3, passionate about the goop as a subject, but genuinely seeming eager to help in this situation. Particularly as it is a favor to Fern, but also because it's like, hey, this is a situation that needs to get dealt with. And we know a lot about it, and we'd really like to get this figured out.
Love that.
Nova seems like a overall pretty cheerful person. Maybe it's a little weird that she called the goop rabbit cute, but like
different people find different things cute. Sure, this might as well happen.
She probably looks at like nearly exclusively goop creatures in her day-to-day life, so maybe this is just what passes for cute on her radar. And
Sometimes
then
the goop's
I'll
cute.
type things.
Sometimes the goop's cute and there's nothing else to say about it. Ow! I love bonking my knee on the table. Good job, me. Ha 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 ha!
I will say you can't really distinguish what voices are speaking right now just because of how chatty everyone's been, but it's like it's familiar, but it's hard to pick out what the voices are exactly.
Oh. The voices say they should stop drinking and we're all like, no.
Those are the vibes you get on
God,
your listen check.
Everything's funny to these motherfuckers. God damn it.
It's really entertaining is the thing.
Because it's not their problem yet.
And it never will be.
Yeah. So it can be funny for them. Well,
It's funny for them
shit.
forever. It's your problem now.
Forever the janitorial squad. Anyways.
And actually, I hate to do this, but I've been hit with like a wave of the sleepy tired, and I didn't sleep great last night, so I might have to tap out now.
Oh, no.
Fair enough.
Because running 3 NPCs involved in conversation might suddenly be too much for my brain. I'm so sorry, gamers. I know it's quite early.
Hey, we got a lot out of today.
Yeah.
There's bitches and motherfuckers in the chat. Sorry
I-
about the way that there's goop here. If you thought I was going to apologize for the way that they are, you were mistaken because they're perfect.
They are
I was
perfect.
not expecting